Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We've got the 2012 Avalanche back in the shop today. I wanted to do a video about the converter and an update on all of that. And we're here now. Got a fuel tank issue, fuel strap issue, and a fuel fill issue. So I'm gonna kind of go through all of that, what we're gonna do to fix it, and give you guys a rundown on what's going on with the truck, and hopefully in the next week or two get it back on the road and get a video out on the converter and all of that. So we lost a fuel tank strap, the rear strap, driving down the road, which was fine and dandy, replace the straps, whatever. The mount that the strap had gone to was pretty much rusted out. The fuel tank cross member support was kind of looking a little rough. So the support for the cross member is right where the fuel tank went, pretty rusty up top. It's pretty rough. However, in the next year or two, what I will probably do is just chop that whole upper support out. There's a company, Rust Busters, that makes that whole weld-in support. Just cut this out, weld a new one in. The frame got a little surface rust, but it is structural still, so I'm not real worried about that. What I'm going to do for now, I welded up this little bracket here and cut whatever was left of the hole to bolt the tank back in. So welded this little bracket up, and we will just weld that right to the frame there, all the way up and around, and I will be able to bolt the tank right back in for now. This side where the hanger goes is fine. It just seems like you get a bunch of debris sitting on top of the tank, and it just sits right in between the tank and this strap, and they seem to rust out, and it's fine over there. While we're down here, I'll show you too. We've got the evap charcoal canister box out, and we are going to replace that while it's out. And we are also going to be replacing the purge valve, which I don't know if I can even see right here. Is right up in there. It's kind of dark, but it's right up above the spare tire. And it has got a vent hose that runs up along here all the way up to the fill cap. So here's a charcoal box. Got a brand new one on already. So we'll get that installed. Here's the old one. We've got some sway bar links and a couple other fuel tank parts we're going to swap out as well. I blew all the lines of the tank out just in case there was any issues. Made sure all the lines and there was good flow through all the hoses. The check valve works, so everything with the tank seems to be good. So we'll replace that evap box, replace that purge solenoid, and see if we can eliminate the issue of the truck not filling up all the way. I didn't quite have the issue where everybody says that it fills up a third of a gallon at a time and then stops. This was more of just, it would fill up halfway and then completely shut off. So I think there was a pressure issue. We'll see. I've got a new fuel cap as well. We'll throw that on. And I may replace the hose going down. Everything I've read says that if you just go buy this whole hose online, they're $150 or so. And every one of them I've seen said the stock gas cap does not fit back on. So then you got to go find an aftermarket gas cap, and I just don't want to deal with all that. So we'll clean that up, we'll get all that back installed, and go from there. As soon as I get the bracket welded back in, I'll pop back down there, show you guys that, and then it should just be as simple as slipping the tank back under the truck. I got some fresh brackets. We'll throw those on. The old one was a little rusty. The bracket on the rear, the bracket did break, and I ended up cutting out the bolt hole that the bracket would have bolted into, because it was just, if it didn't break now, it would have been the next link. So we're just gonna beef this up temporarily. It's not a show truck by any means, and I'm not really worried about the body. So if I can just get the frame to work for now and it to hold gas, I'd be happy with that. A couple other things that we're gonna do while it is in here is we have a leak on the oil filter housing. There is where the oil filter cooler lines come off. There is a bolt, and we've got a couple brass washers. That should fix that. And I believe we are going to get the bung welded in for the AFR gauge. So we're going to get a bung welded in above the cat on the passenger or driver's side. Other than that, we can hopefully just get this stuff put back together. I've got a fresh set of plugs and wires for it, and then we can just get back to tuning the transmission and the truck. I've got the transmission, I think, pretty dialed in now. The tune has felt good on it. The little bit that I have got to drive it since everything's been finished, I think I've got about 1,000 miles on the truck now since putting the new transmission in. And maybe only 100 of those miles are on the most recent tune, and that has made a huge difference. So we'll go from there. As soon as I get that bracket welded back in, I'll pick up the camera again, show you guys kind of what we got going on, and get this tank back in, get this back on the road, and go from there. So hang tight. Okay, tell me if I'm crazy. Again, I'm not a welder. Alright, just wanted to get you guys under here again real quick. Got the spare tire out. We just pulled the bracket off, pulled the whole thing out. It was pretty easy. And then we've got our bracket welded in. Again, don't worry about that. What we're worried about is bracket welded in. Can we get a bolt in it? Can we get the tank back in? Again, in another year or two, I do plan on replacing this whole cross member. However, the top side is good, plenty thick, and it's still reinforced from the entire passenger side. I truly don't think that's going to be an issue at this time, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So we've got that welded in. We've got a rust protection coat just thrown on it. Is it going to do anything? I don't know. So the goal going forward, I need to pull this fuel fill hose off. I need to just check it for obstructions. It's also got what looks to be a repair up there. I'm not seeing that is, I can't tell if that's factory or a hodgepodge repair. So, got to do a little more investigating onto that. And I'm going to look into, I heard you can buy an aftermarket tire lift on eBay for fairly cheap. So if I could find a new one and replace this guy that is completely seized and locked up, that would be nice. And then what I'll do, cut all that off, yank this tire off. I've got the rim and I've got the tires that were on this truck prior to these ones. They were not wore out. They were just, I don't know, 4 years old, and I was getting ready to drive to Texas in the hot summer. So I just threw a fresh set on. So I will take the old spare, throw that on. We'll get a new lift, get that thrown up under the truck. I've got fuel cap we're still going to do. Got to finish doing that. And the purge valve in the rear is the last thing we've got to do. And then I would like to do these front bumper mounts while the tank is out. The bolts that hold the bumpers in all were rusted in, locked up, and all the heads on both sides, the heads just snapped right off. So I'm just gonna cut this bracket off, slap a new bracket in there, weld it up a little more beefy, get the bumper back on, tank back in, and we should be good to go to continue some converter testing and tuning the truck. And this Sunday, going to pick up another little surprise for it. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And we will see. I'm not sure how much more of the gas tank install I'll get on video. Again, plenty of that on YouTube. What I will get, whether it's in this video or just a short update later, is how the filling process is going. If we can fill the truck up. And I will let you guys know what fixes that issue, because I will fix that issue with whatever I got to do to fix it. So stay tuned for that, guys, and I appreciate you following along and watching this far. So till next time. Alrighty, so I cut the factory bumper mount off on the passenger side of the truck. So you can see just nothing left of it. And the bolts wouldn't come out when I tried to pull the bumper off. So, pretty much junk. Welded up a replacement that is way too heavy duty. Be alright though. So I'm going to poke some holes in it, get it ready. I think I'm actually just going to bolt this into the truck. That way I can adjust it and do anything I need to if the bumper doesn't line up perfectly. Especially because the quarter panels on the truck at this time are so eaten up. So until I get new quarter panels and can determine exactly where that bracket has to sit, it sits right in here, that's where it was. So until I get that, I'll probably just bolt them to the truck and do a mount like that. So I'm gonna make a mirror one for this other side and go from there. But now that I'm not gonna weld them to the truck, I'm not really worried about getting them done before the tank goes back in. So probably just gonna get this chucked back in and go from there. Sounds like it's about to click off again. Hit about half tank.